Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the ESL 1 Cologne Major Offline Qualifier here in Katowice. It's a mouthful, but we're going to get it done by rote learning by the end of these 4 days. If you just joined us, welcome. You did just miss Cloud9 getting over the top of Empire in a bit of a close one towards the end. They did fight back, but Cloud9 managed to close it out in the end. We're moving straight on towards our 4th game of the day, almost halfway through already. And of course, it's going to be another best of 1. Our first team, qualified #1 seed from the CIS minor, actually beating Team Empire in the final after being knocked down by them, will be the Fluffy Gangsters. And of course, their opponents will be mousesports, featuring a change of coaching lineup, of course. Kassad is coming on board for them. They've been playing a lot of ECS, a lot of online stuff recently. And the last time we saw them at a LAN was at DreamHack Masters Malmo. So, plenty of expectations. We're definitely keen to see how this one is going to turn out, but I will pass it over to our analyst to give us the real lowdown on this matchup.
Thanks very much, Mitch. Appreciate all of that. Now, what I want to address first of all is the fact that he's raised it there on the minor that Empire actually fell to Fluffy Gangsters, and we did just end our desk segment saying actually good signs from Empire versus Cloud9. Now, I admit mousesports are a bit more of a tough opponent, but the fact that Fluffy are coming into this one already beating a team that we just praised as looking promising, surely that does pose, actually Fluffy Gangsters, despite all of the hilarity surrounding their name, as a team that we should kind of keep our eye on.
I don't know if you can make those comparisons.
Yeah,
though.
exactly. Because we started off the day saying that Splice, Fluffy Gangsters, and Empire are probably going to be the punching bags. Yeah. So I think out from where we started, our initial outlook on Empire, it looked promising.
Yeah.
I don't think it's world beater promising. So they're not going to make it through the qualifier. Yeah. So I think at this point it's just don't embarrass yourself.
Same story then. Same story.
Don't embarrass yourself. That's harsh. But no, you're not wrong. I think that they pose more of a threat. Obviously, just results-wise, in theory, you'd assume they could come with some strength here. I think maps are going to be quite, I guess, tough. Being honest about Mouse, they don't exactly have an awful map pool. They have a relatively decent pool at the moment. They have incredibly good players individually as well. So it's kind of scary to see what's going to happen with them now with Kassad joining on board as well. You've got Nico not looking any worse than he's ever been. He's always just seemingly getting better or being good. It's just terrifying. So I don't know. It's hard to see room for Fluffy Gangsters to find a good map or an opportunity. Whereas you looked at the Cloud9 game, you could find probably several chances there where you'd be like, well, if this doesn't happen, if that doesn't work. I don't see that as much with Mouse here.
I think the biggest chance that they're going to have would be on a map like Cobblestone, and that's not because we haven't seen mousesports play well on Cobblestone ever before. It's simply because we've seen mousesports throw away games on Cobblestone many times. So they play play the map very well up to a certain point where they just start deciding that they're going to make things really, really difficult for themselves.
I'm trying to throw my mind back as well. Was it? It was either the last Cologne or the last Katowice one where their deciding game to make it. It must have been Cologne because that was the heartbreaking moment when they couldn't go in front of their home crowd. I'm pretty sure it was on Cobble, and that was one of the moments where I think they were trying out, keeping Crochet away from the AWP a little bit, put him on the rifle, and Henry was losing his mind at this because that was the game that stopped them going to the massive stadium in front of a home audience, quote unquote, and it's just like
they've done it multiple times though. That's the scary thing about that map in mousesports. They've done it so many times at this point, so you kind of associate it with them throwing away games there.
I'd love to talk about the maps quite early on, just because I know that Vito is prepared, and so just because of, as you've said already, we have already said that it's going to be tough for Fluffy Gangsters. A map would certainly help, like Cobblestone. So let's have a little look where this one does go. As always, as you've said before, Vendetta, just kind of re-raising the point that when you are in the shoes of mousesports, you can just take away your opponent's strengths, right?
Exactly. So that's what I'm expecting to happen with mousesports. They should feel like they're the stronger team overall.
You'd hope so.
Yeah, exactly. You'd hope so. Otherwise, something really wrong has happened during boot camp for mousesports. So they should be banning away the strongest maps from Fluffy Gangsters.
That's fair enough.
That's the most obvious ban you could do. Cash being the best map for mousesports, easy map to remove initially. As for mousesports, they're going to have to, Overpass is a map they don't play, so that makes sense as well. And now, I guess that goes away from the trend initially that you just ban out the best maps from teams. But apparently
maybe they're learning to not do it in qualifiers, just any other time.
But this is a bit of a different trend from what we've seen from the other teams, or the other favorites so far in the matchups, where they banned out the strongest maps from their opponents. They've actually just taken out their 2 weakest maps. So mousesports, I guess they would feel confident regardless of what map it ends up on, but they don't want to take the risk of actually throwing away a game on, for instance, Cobblestone.
But this has just left Dust2 open, which is
Dust2 is a random map, but it's also like
But it's
pretty
a mouse
decent,
map.
Yeah, but it's a decent map for mousesports, but it's also one of those maps where a lesser team can actually come through and do well.
I agree to the extent where you can take individual fights against the other team, but do you think Fluffy Gangsters can take clean fights against Nico, Chris J, these guys on this map specifically have incredible prowess? That is Dust2.
Yeah, actually, I think, well, obviously, if you measure them up head-to-head, mousesports is going to win every single time, but still, Dust2 is a bit of a... It does have that random element to it, where if a guy catches fire, you can actually open up the entire map for your team. Yeah. So maybe that's what Fluffy Gangsters are banking on. And if there is any other map besides Cobblestone where we have seen mousesports do incredibly weird stuff at times, it is Dust2.
And I would say there's a lot of material to look through. If they've come into this veto saying, where would mousesports want to go towards, you'd argue that this is certainly a map they'd look at. If Fluffy Gangsters put the time in to go, okay, well, how can we break this down? Is there any way where you can see a feasible way into this? Then it actually could be a really interesting matchup. As you said, Dust2 can be one of those maps where teams that necessarily maybe can't do those standardized executes, those really heavy strategic kind of approaches, could maybe find some room. But again, you're going to have to hope that Nico's not hitting those crazy shots. Yeah. That Chris J isn't playing that car area if he's on the CT side as well as he can do. It does become a massive issue if they have those big games here.
Yeah, and you know, like last time I did a little form check on Skadoodle Vendetta, I'm going to do the same thing here for Chris J, a player that's been so kind of influential when he's on. At what point have you know, what have we seen from Chris J as of late?
Chris J has been decent. Just in general, all of mousesports has been decent, but even if Chris J has a poor game, I don't think it's going to matter too much because you still have the fallback on Nex, who's been, you know, even though he's still somewhat inconsistent, he has been, had higher highs.
Watch out, Fluffy did just win the knife round, so that's like...
Well, you said 16-0, so...
Positivity now.
Maybe this could,
well, I mean,
like, start things off. Let's go, boys!
We'll won the knife on the, most meaningless map we could possibly win the knife on.
Yeah.
So you got that going for you.
I'll always find the silver lining.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's definitely silver lining. They at least get to start out with their most comfortable side.
And you can't, I guess, discredit that when you're coming in as an underdog. You need any confidence you can have, right? It's like if you want to give Mouse even more confidence, then let them just, plow through on whatever side they want. At least if they get a chance to maybe slow it down, get a bit of a beginning, there could be silver lining.
And I think that was kind of the winning factor as well for Fluffy Gangsters. They need someone to get hot, and the best way of doing it is starting on your comfy side.
Well, I mean, the sun is out in Dust2 as well, so they could warm up there. What was that? Anyway,
nice.
So far, every single underdog has failed to demonstrate their strong bite. Up now is going to be another opportunity for Fluffy Gangsters to blow our minds. Of course, they're healing from the CIS minor, going up against mousesports on what often described as mousesports' home map. It's going to be chaos, and your casters, we actually found Metas. He was hidden in a Frankfurt airport for a while. We couldn't quite find him, but finally, he has arrived in Katowice, and he's going to be casting this game. Enjoy this one.
Thanks very much, Machine. And indeed, we have found you. We've retrieved you from apparently what was the hellstorm over Frankfurt last night.
Apocalyptic. It's like biblical levels of screwed up.
I got out of there just in time then. I came to Frankfurt probably 8 hours before you.
Yeah, I literally landed, got to the hotel, came straight here, so everything's on crease. It's an absolute nightmare, but we've got Counter-Strike, and I can look forward to that at least.
Definitely, and it's going to be an interesting one, of course. Fluffy Gangsters, another underdog story has been for a lot of our matches today. Underdogs taking on mousesports. Clearly a match that I think you could agree we would expect mousesports to win with flying colors.
Absolutely, there's no doubting it. This is in the realms of 16-0, 16-1, somewhere around there in my opinion. I mean, if mousesports don't show, maybe there's a chance for Fluffy Gangsters to move towards the double-digit mark, but we really only have stats and figures from them playing tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 teams. So what I will say is maybe one small blip on the radar for mousesports is how much chance have they had to actually research into Fluffy Gangsters, how much do they know about this team, because it was very difficult for me to research them, never mind those guys.
Very true, and for me the big players there are going to be Chopper and Little, who were probably the strongest performers when they were at the CIS minor a little while back, but we are getting into the match now, guys, with Fluffy Gangsters starting off on the CT side. Robo's going to get a little bit aggressive at the beginning there. We'll take a couple shots, but nothing too potent just as of yet.
I did mention this on the desk as well, that Fluffy Gangsters won the knife round, so maybe this is their chance to start things off with a bang. Well, that's pretty much going to have to be one of their keys to success, is picking up this pistol round and getting the subsequent couple. Pretty standard stuff from both teams, though. You can see mousesports just hiding back, waiting for an initial charge, but Fluffy Gangsters are having none of it. They're just going to be playing passive themselves.
Interesting to note too, the Fluffy Gangsters start off on the CT side here. Now, granted, both of their sides overall, the two maps they did play this at their last event, which was the minor, were still pretty potent, but their T side was still much more stronger by a pretty potent margin, winning 70% of the rounds, where they only won about 55% of the CT rounds. So just getting the start off here, obviously going to be a personal preference from Fluffy Gangsters, but now with the timer running a bit lower, mousesports have yet to really reveal anything as of yet, but they're getting ready for a big boom out in the B-bomb site.
Yeah, and there's just going to be one player to fend off against them. It's going to be Roman. He's been flashed out already. He's going to be trying to relocate, playing for the retake maybe. Actually goes back in again. A flashbang lands in the face of mousesports. They have to turn tail and run back, but now the B site has been taken and will be planted as well. All 10 players remaining though here, Blue, so this next kill could mean everything.
Robo working his way back up here too, but the members of mousesports, they are sticking here like statues, not moving out as of yet. Elpatron with a good first shot, but Dennis responds on his own there, trying to pick some more up. Finds one outside. That's Chopper going down and looking for a third. He's going to find it. Great hold from him, shutting down the entire retake force for Fluffy Gangsters, and now it's Nico's turn to party. He's going to take down Little. All that's left alive is Roman, and there's no way he's doing anything about this.
Absolutely not. And therein lays the issue of giving up B completely with all 10 players left. You have to land those first couple headshots, and it was locked down from mousesports and B tunnels. After those first headshots landed, it was all over. Fluffy Gangsters going to go for the force, as you'd expect, including a scout. Very viable on Dust2, of course. And considering that they're playing against Chris J, who is one of the masters of the scout, he also has it himself.
He's going to be sticking around in the usual position. See if he can scout out anybody else from Fluffy Gangsters here at the beginning. Looking like he wants to take the battle a bit, but not so potently. In the meantime, though, they've also sent Robo out in the fast cap maneuver, but they've got to be worried about the fast play for the members of mousesports themselves out towards long, taking very rapid control. All 5 players are out there. Speedy starts it off with a kill going on to Chopper. They slowed down a little bit and actually moving themselves towards the site, but still very slow rotation for Fluffy Gangsters. They've got to get themselves in position because they're going to be pretty quickly overwhelmed out here.
They sure will. Little is doing some pretty big damage, though, through the smoke. Chris J down to 31. A 1-for-1 trade. Here comes, oh, Robo lands the headshot in mid-air on Chris J. He's dead and buried. That's a pretty big, important part of the map as well. He could have had the Overwatch from Pit, and as it stands, all the remaining mousesports players are on the site. No scopes are landing. Speedy Nico with kills, and Robo now is going to be putting down the hammer from Chris J's corpse in Pit. 2-on-2. Make it a 2-on-1 now. Speedy's all that remains with the UMP, and he's caught between a rock and a hard place. Has to back off. He's doing significant damage, but his days are numbered, and Fluffy Gangsters pull it back 1-to-1.
Everybody else from the Fluffy Gangsters, Chopper and Little, along with Elpatron, doing some great damage there at the beginning of the round. When they actually go for the site take, they bring them down so low, and they're just not able to hold those post plants as Robo just picks them off from long range and up close and personal for the final one there. So Fluffy Gangsters striking back, and not only this too, but upgrading 2 of those rifles for free. 2 AKs now in the hands of these players. It's going to be no trouble buying up the remaining 3 rifles. And for mousesports, big question in their hand now. Do we go for a much more aggressive response to this, or do we sort of bow down for a round or 2 here and try to rebuild our own economy so that we can take this on a much stronger stride?
And they're deciding to tap out. So P250s have came in for both Nex and Dennis. There's a Deagle and has a Nico. We know what he's capable of with his weapon. He's an absolute monster. But it's an easy frag for Robo right off the bat. And with that Molotov down on the ground, mousesports can't look to avenge instantly. Roman's there, prime position with the M4 spray down. And this should be a formality now for Fluffy Gangsters. If they lose any weapons from this point, it'll be a mistake, I've got to say.
mousesports tried to re-execute the same thing they did in that pistol, but with a much faster pace about it this time. Still not going to be finding anything. And they've already caught on to the fact that they're going to be trying to push their way out towards middle here too. Next peeking a little bit there, but still not grabbing anything just as of yet. Keeping himself back there, Little run in the corner just so he doesn't lose himself. You should note that too, that Little has chosen purposefully to not invest in the event. There's like a fluked 1 or 2 kills that go out against the members of Fluffy Gangsters. They can still recover that and essentially take 0 losses for the overall round there. But now they're starting to push out a little more. There's Nex picking up 1 good kill. He actually does take down Little. But now they've got to find their way onto a site with a minute left, and it's going to be Dennis that again finds the first pickup there, taking down Robo.
It's a big kill. That opens up mid, and I said if they lose any weapons, it would be a mistake, and it's just that got a whole lot worse than that, actually. Now there's a chance for mousesports to bounce back into this round. El Patron, though, and well, in the blink of an eye, the round is taken away, but I think another reason why Little didn't invest is to get an AWP a bit earlier on. Because obviously AWP on Dust2, very, very important. He's got 6.2k, so he can get himself one with the Kevlar as well, and there we go. Very important stuff, especially considering that mousesports did bite the bullet and decided to eco in the 3rd round, pardon me. Now Chris J has his own AWP as well.
They're going to keep themselves even with that. So mousesports bouncing back right into the thick of things here on the 4th round as they invest. A little bit light on utility for a couple of their players, but they should still have plenty to make a decent take, especially if they want to play this to a faster pace too and not really take time to set things up. Placing a lot of their players outside of long, but Nico looking to distract a little bit as well, closer to the B bomb site. This was held quite well, both Roman and Robo in that last round, but now it's only going to be a farce this time as the rest of mousesports is sitting back, looking to take some control elsewhere on the map.
Yeah, extremely passive play. With Kassad at the helm. Hoping, from mousesports' perspective, what they're setting up for is a potential mid-push. A lot of teams will do this, likes of Hellraisers like to run with it. But But instead, Nico, look how cheeky. This actually pushes all the way up without any smokes or flashbangs. And they did sense this when they went for a pop flash themselves. They keep him at bay for now, but Nico does have a little bit of real estate in mid. You can try and poke and probe, but there's actually a distinct lack of grenades on the side of mousesports with just under a minute to play with.
Commanding a lot of respect there too. Fluffy Gangsters and really nobody wanting to take the challenge directly out there through the mid door. They're all just falling back to the sites themselves. With 50 seconds left, they execute a very heavy mid to B split now. Everybody pushing their way out and going into the direct B doors. Robo holds the first kill, but Next response takes him right back down. Next even finds a second kill as well, and Nico shuts the last player on the site out of the picture. It's going to be Roman falling, but they left the bomb out towards middle there. Thankfully for themselves, nobody from the side of Fluffy Gangsters was able to spot this and try to take an advantage upon that.
Two players exceptionally low for mousesports. Nex and Dennis both below 5 health. No grenades to play with, but that bomb is being planted. And Fluffy Gangsters just setting up for the save. They want to keep you up, keep the AK. 12k worth of equipment value to take through into round number 5. Understandable decision. And mousesports bouncing right back, but I thought this would be complete slaughter. Fluffy Gangsters, they're holding their own so far.
And very, very passive on the CT side, just in general with the way they're playing. Even when they retook the site on the second round, which gave them their first pickup here, it was very odd the way that they managed to do that, sort of holding themselves back into the areas you normally expect the CTs to be crowding around, and then sort of pushing themselves in. A lot of the jump scouting coming back in here towards the site too did all that damage, and then just picking them off from long range. And we can see that again here in this round. Despite getting some decent damage on Nex and Dennis, just not thinking the odds are in their favor, going to be choosing to save instead of go for an aggressive play to retake.
Well, they do keep both these weapons, but decent positions held from Fluffy Gangsters. They have each other's backs, and they will be taking those weapons through. And you can see the importance of it now. Roman can get himself an assault rifle. Chopper could drop an M4, which is exactly what's happening right now. So they can get a pretty solid buy-up again. It may be at the cost of a few grenades, but it's a whole lot better than the alternative if they went for that retake and lost both weapons. So game back on round 5. If mousesports take this, though, Fluffy Gangsters will be broke. So this is a big round.
And it's quick out to the long area again for the members of mousesports. Rolling out Patron and Little, not even going to waste any time sticking around here to defend that. In fact, they're going to boost Little back up onto the site very quickly too. I think for mousesports, they've taken the same thing they did before when they went for this aggressive push too. They've sort of taken a timeout after they initially get themselves out into the open here, just to make sure there are no surprises to be found for the Fluffy Gangsters hiding behind the big dumpster or around the corner and whatnot. They're not going to be finding any of that, but they did give the time for the Fluffy Gangsters to get in a position to defend this site against a long hit,
which is going to be coming up pretty shortly, you'd have to assume. Again, they do have, this time Dennis is going to be lurking around mid, just waiting for any potential pushes up through Xbox. No Patron only with a Deagle, that could be an issue. Dust2, one of those maps though, you can really let rip with a Deagle and do crazy amounts of damage. And he is going to be holding off the angle from ramp. So the green light has been punched from mousesports. They're looking to start to push their way in slowly but surely. Still passive setup from Fluffy Gangsters. This smoke is definitely going to keep them at bay. They're not sure if anyone's crossed as of yet, so therefore they're stuck in 2 mines. They do have control of a catwalk though, so this is going to be a very one-dimensional push for now from mousesports.
Nico spotting Little, but a little bit too late there, and on the repeak, Little just shuts Nico out of the play entirely. 40 seconds left, still a lot of time to play with, but Little himself is going to be mollied outside of the site. Falls to Roman now to pick up some of these kills, and he's going to do so. Little chiming right back in, takes out Speedy, down to Nex and Chris J from the side of mousesports. Chris J is going to be eliminated, and Nex trying to battle back now. He's found 2 of the 4 kills, 3 more to go though. Now, Little will take him down, and with that, the Fluffy Gangsters will keep themselves in this match with the lead.
I've got to give him a 10 for that backflip. That was beautiful. Right off the box, onto his neck. But as I was saying before, that round was massive for mousesports because they could have broke the economy of Fluffy Gangsters. The thing is, mousesports now find themselves in a similar position. They're going to have Deagles, have some Kevlar thrown in as well, so all is not lost, but they are going to be reeling after that last round. A great hold from Fluffy Gangsters. I thought when those smokes went down, it's going to be going the way of the dodo for them. Not the case.
Nico again pushing himself out towards the tunnel area at the B-bomb site, looking to see if he can catch anything early on here with essentially a full Deagle buy from mousesports. 3 to picking that up. Speedy going to invest into some utility, and Chris J going to be much lighter with a P250. But very quick out to the mid doors once more, and Chopper, he's got the support of a good flashbang. He's going to catch Dennis through the smoke after it plumes. Good pick up from him. And the flashbang out, he's going to be hunting for more here too. He's blinded them so much, and they're just going to line right up. 3 more frags for Chopper. Next, Chris J and Speedy all going down. It's just on Nico.
The domino effect, line him up, knock him down. 4 kills for Chopper. Now Nico, who did give his position away a bit earlier, was going for those 1 taps from B tunnels. He's no, and surely his days are numbered. 4-2 for Fluffy Gangsters. Great start thus far. Well played by Chopper. Although, to keep things in consideration, was kind of an eco.
Yeah, definitely. But, I mean, it's important to note, too, that they're still keeping a lot of their players alive on these eco rounds, where other teams will struggle to do that, where we see trades coming back in a lot. This is not the case here. Fluffy Gangsters held their own. And in that round, Chopper, as you can see on the replay right now, just completely decimates the entire hit with some good flashbang support that was coming in for him.
That's a really good point that you raised, though, that Fluffy Gangsters, they're taking these eco rounds, but they're not losing players. They're keeping their economy building forward. El Patron only with the FAMAS, but just a couple rounds ago he had a Deagle only, so he is upgrading. And now you can see mousesports have a Galil in the hands of Speedy, but they do have plenty of grenades to play with. So, still a lot of potency in round 7. Let's see if they can make it work, though, because we've seen them with similar buys before, and they've been completely neutralized.
Earlier on in this round, Chris J, right at the start of it, did manage to tag Robo, so if they go for the B site hit again, then they'll be dealing with a little bit more of a weakened defense. At least one of the targets should be easier to eliminate here, but for mousesports, it's all about getting things started, which they've been having trouble with before quite a few times in these hits. They've just been eliminated entirely from the get-go by the members of the Fluffy Gangsters. So still taking their time, though, as they would expect. A minute left on that clock. Still not any reason to worry about their ability to get onto a site just as of yet. However, Little takes that aggressive position with the op back over on the catwalk and shuts down another member of mousesports, taking down Speedy.
Yeah, mixing it up, keeping it interesting for mousesports. They can't take anything for granted. We've seen him running on car, on long, so just this time on catwalk. But mousesports looking to bounce back with a bit of aggression themselves. Smoking off mid and now looking to push through. It's going to be Little that's there. Robo in the meanwhile trying to hold it down from the doors. There's a 2-man stack on B. One window, one doors. That's a massive kill from Roman. It's going to alleviate a bit of the pressure, but it's been applied back again. Here comes Robo with one, looking for a second, gets traded up from Chris J. But has the damage already been done from mousesports? They'll be able to get this bomb planted, but we'll be facing off against a 3-on-2 retake.
Not only this too, but they're going to have such little utility to try and hold this out against Chris J. Looking to make up for that now by getting a bit more aggressive, going for the early retake inside of the tunnels. He doesn't spot El Patron around the corner though, and he's going to take him down. With that, Nico will be cornered, nowhere to go. He can't find that kill on El Patron, and Fluffy Gangsters will pull off another retake, giving them a 5th round.
Slick Counter-Strike. Big hold, nice frag from Roman in window. And Fluffy Gangsters here going to have a double up setup in Robo and Little's hands. El Patron with the M4, and mousesports find themselves with Tech 9s and Deagles. The plot thickens. Fluffy Gangsters, they have shown up here to battle against mousesports, and they haven't really seen any upsets today. This could have the makings of one.
And because of the fact that they're actually coming up quite successful on a few of these eco rounds here, there's a decent chunk of change saved up for a lot of these guys too. Specifically looking at players like Robo and Little and Chopper to a certain degree. They've got 5K, 6K, and 8K. That's a crap ton of money for the CT side, especially in a much more competitive match like here at a major qualifier.
Oh, yeah.
Don't see the CTs getting that much money built up, and that's quite dangerous for mousesports to have to break down here throughout the rest of this half.
That's exactly the case. They can get another couple rebuys in here for Fluffy Gangsters, even if they were to lose more weapons. So far, it's gone well for them though. Round number 8 seeming fruitless for mousesports. They have an AK. That's a Dennis, also has Kevlar. Nico with the 1-tap though. Elsewhere on the map on catwalk gets put down with authority, courtesy of Little, who is on the car again. Dennis would love to have a Molly or a HV right now, but he's just got a smoke.
He doesn't have any pressure coming against him though, thankfully, so he's free to sort of creep his way up. And Little peeking, but I believe he's peeking to try and check out the door to see if anybody's going to be working out from that direction. So just trying to take his time about it now. Little getting a little bit more adventurous, but still not moving out to check it just as of yet. And there we go. Now he spotted Dennis. He's got the lock onto him. He can call for the help. Dennis is taking this really slowly too, so he's found the frag, but now he's down to 10 HP after being dinked down at the end there. And he's also going to use that smoke to try and find the crossover here. And Smoke's going to be a bit imperfect. So Robo will just take him down through it.
I don't want to rag too much on Dennis there, but if he gets that kill cleanly right off the bat, keeps 100 health, then it's completely doable. Both the players are coming from the same position of CT side. Very one-dimensional retake, but maybe ifs and buts. The end result is another round to Fluffy Gangsters. Here comes another buy from mousesports, but again, the back balance looking pretty healthy for the CTs. Robo's going to be crossing with Roman. A similar setup, giving up mid, but keeping B control.
And it's back into the tunnels again for the majority of the mousesports players to line up. Something early on here if they should decide to work their way out into the site, and they found exactly what they needed. Chris J connects the shot onto Roman, taking him down, leaving it just on one man. It's going to be Robo. They're trying to defend this site in the event they go in right now, but more are on the way, thankfully. Little, and to a certain degree, Chopper are going to be a bit closer to try and move in, but Chopper, I think, has resigned away from this and is going to stick to the A site.
Big opening pick, but mousesports have got the deadlock broken in their favor quite a few times, been able to pull the trigger and get the round for themselves. Little peering through into mid, looking to set up a play, but Nico with the AK-47, cheeky headshot, opens up mid nicely. The smoke's going to go down as well, but now it's up to Robo. Chopper actually picks him off through the smoke. I believe that wasn't to Nico. Not sure if the smoke was on position, but now Robo's going to clean up with 2 kills. And again, mousesports letting a prime opportunity slip through their fingers. It's not over just yet, but man, oh man, what has happened again?
they've got to try and use some more utility if they want to try to get past him now. That was a raw attempt to just rush right out into the site, not using really flashbangs or anything. So Robo's free to pick those players off one by one as they just shuffle out of the tunnels as individuals here. So the final two from mousesports, they're going to retreat back over here towards the middle to try and see if they can work a better position. Waiting around the corner, they've got Patron, who's been pretty good at holding off these pressured situations as well. First target's going to be Speedy, who creeps his way out. He spotted him now. Nope, he actually didn't see him just as of yet. Was looking to see if he jumped up on top of the box. They've got him cornered, but they've also got to be careful of somebody peeking out from the B-bomb side. They're spending so much time doing this. Finally take him down, but now only 15 seconds left to take them onto the site. Thankfully, though, Speedy finds a very nice kill on a Robo. He's fully flashed. This leaves everything into the hands of Chopper for the Fluffy Gangsters now.
Oh, we're going to see yet another retake. It's going to be rough, though. Chopper has no grenades to work with, has a defuse kit, but that's all. He knows roughly where one player is in CT spawn. And will not get the spray. There's next double kills for him. And finally, mousesports get themselves back on the board.
And while Robo does a great job of holding off the initial attempts of aggression from mousesports onto the B side, he ultimately ends up being his own team's doom as well. With him peeking, playing more aggressively out to try and stop the mid hit from moving its way into the B-bomb site. He loses himself. Very nice shot from Speedy that I don't think he should have expected to be connected onto him, granted, but still with him going down, that does allow them to walk right in, and that one makes that 1v2 essentially impossible to win.
The worrying sign for mousesports is that ChrisJ's actually bottom fragging. This is typically a map where he shines. You know, we always say Dust2's an AWPer's paradise. But he's on 2 for 7. He really needs to step things up. 2 kills in 10 rounds is just simply not good enough. So let's see if he can bounce back again. He's a bit of an emotional player. Sometimes struggles a little bit with poor form. He's a player they're going to look to if they want to qualify themselves to Cologne, that's for sure.
And it'll be Chopper outside of the long doors there, looking to try and put some aggression into these players here. Still contemplating if he wants to actually push all the way in or not, but Dennis holds on the other side, and he knows that there's going to be a very close-up presence there for now, but Chopper does resign. Falls back a little bit more as he doesn't wait for an impending push from mousesports. Normally right around this time, you're going to start to see players move in just to get a bit of map control. Not necessarily going for the site pick just as of yet, but Nico moving his way out of the mid doors, and now there's pressure coming out towards long. It's Chopper's turn to shine, and nobody checked that position, so he picks up 1 kill. It's quickly traded out by Next, but with this combined with Little picking up another shot elsewhere towards middle to shut down Nico, now it's going to be very hard for mousesports to find their way into a site.
The issue for mousesports as well is it's all well and good getting long control, but it's just all a one-pronged attack. You're all going to be coming up long. It's easy for Fluffy Gangsters who have a play around Catwalk to just lock down on long with the AWPs that they have in play. So mousesports have really only done half the battle, and this is what I'm talking about. Little doesn't have to do anything. All he has to do is continually peek, and he's got players watching the side as well. Easy picks off, and now it's all on Next. It's unlikely he's going to get much done from this. It would take a Herculean effort. He has spotted a couple players. There's the first spray down, but instantly gets picked back. And again, mousesports, they're so stuck in their ways. They need to be having players coming up mid or taking catwalk control. We really haven't seen that so far.
The other issue here too now is you have a consistent double op setup supplied for the members of the Fluffy Gangsters, and we see countless amounts of teams using this to such a huge degree on the CT side of Dust2. It's so potent and so hard to deal with here. Mousesports have not been able to get past it yet. When they dispatch of one op or the other one's just going to be a constant threat because the rotations can be so quick from site to site.
Just going back onto that point before as well, a team that I mentioned earlier, which is Hellraisers, who have very interesting strats on both sides, super aggressive on their CT side. They really love to push on Catwalk a lot, and we haven't seen that a great deal from mousesports. This is one of the first rounds we've seen them really even flirt with the idea of it, and I feel like that could be a weakness for Fluffy Gangsters. If you get the pushes on Catwalk like this, look, Dennis has got all the way here. They haven't even spotted him just yet. Finally he gets noticed, but if he doesn't have a Deagle, he has an AWP or an AK, who knows, maybe craziness happens. That being said, it's going to be a complete shutdown from Fluffy Gangsters. USP pulled out, no one dies in the process. mousesports trailing 8-3 already.
Amazing Chopper stays alive at the end of that round. I think he got dinked twice if I heard the noises correctly, so makes it out of that one. Just barely, and it's been Chopper and Robo, as you can see from the scoreboard now, that have been the main forces. Nico, not so much of that big player that we're used to seeing him. It's someone else taking the stride right now for mousesports. Next, currently leading the way.
mousesports needing a couple more heroes on their team. This time again, familiar territory, pistols, some Kevlar, some nades, but by and large it is a hamstring rifle round as far as they're concerned. mousesports, 3 rounds right now. You need to be doubling that. You've got to feel at least. There we go. Strength in numbers approach. Robo misses the first shot. That could be at the cost of his life. He starts to get charged down. Nice flank shot onto ChrisJ, but gets traded out straight afterwards from Dennis. And now the floodgates have opened. Mouse are just charging through onto the B side, picking up frags here, there, and everywhere. Through the smoke, down goes Roman. Much better from mousesports. And maybe It was just all about the aggression, Blue.
They denied a lot of their early rotation power from Fluffy Gangsters coming back in to stop them as well. Chopper was the big one that started to work his way in from CT, and they just got him as soon as he walked out of the smoke. They expected that to come in. Little is going to pick up a frag against Next, but here's the problem. They haven't really pushed too close to the site as of yet. They've got a decent amount of utility, but considering how passively they've been playing the CT side for a lot of the half two, it already looks like, again, they're going to be opting for the save option instead, just to keep these guns in the picture. They still have a decent lead, and they can allow mousesports to get a round or two here.
That's it. You hit the nail on the head. They've got a good lead. There's no need to sacrifice these weapons. There's no need to roll the dice. They're already in very solid footing. Keep the weapons, rinse and repeat. Try and break mousesports again, who will be now resetting their round loss bonus as a result of picking up round 12. Mousesports in the right direction, but that was a bit of difference. A super aggressive round. You wonder if they're going to get away with that again. What I will say is Fluffy Gangsters have shown no real commitment to mid this entire time. They're just keeping a player in window, watching the cross instead of putting a player in mid that a lot of teams will do. So I wonder if that's going to change anytime soon.
Moving away now from the double up setup because the money has been strong on some players, but a little bit weaker on some others here. So just back down to the Little holding his, and Rubel even has to downgrade to the FAMAS now, as using now on mousesports. Still yet to make a lot of momentum progress in terms of their early strategical prowess here. A lot of it coming back to these last-minute sort of ditched efforts to very quickly push into a site. Works out a lot better on that last round, and they are able to finally put another one up on the board, but they still have a long climb to go here. Only a few rounds left on their T side.
That's it. They've got to start converting these rounds. It's all well and good getting the first couple kills, but it's how you finish now. They're running out of time on this half. I said before, they'd be eyeing up 6-7 rounds here. They want to take the rest of them, obviously. But can they do that? We haven't really seen. I think at the very beginning we saw them take a 2-1 lead, but since then it's been one-way traffic for the CTs. Another FAMAS in play for the CTs. It'll be Robo, this one. Meanwhile, Catwalk does have a bit more presence this time for mousesports. In the previous round, of course, when they peeked a player up there, Little picked off the head and then dropped down with the AWP. So maybe still caught in two minds about that position.
There's everybody here from the side of mousesports. They get ready to go. It's going to be a very all-in attempt to take control of Cat, and thus the A-bomb site. Little's going to have a lot of pressure on him, but he's been able to perform as well before. But this time as well, he's got a lot more utility to deal with, and he's not even really going to pressure this at all. Falling back, wrapping himself around a little bit more, getting hit by that flashbang. He's going to give a lot of respect, to be completely honest, to the members of mousesports, sort of just letting them in this bomb site. They're giving control essentially for free. Good nade is tossed in there, does some decent damage to Chris J, but still now is the time for the Fluffy Gangsters to get a bit aggressive, and this is an area where we really haven't seen them shine all that well as of yet.
Absolutely, we haven't really seen mousesports try this so far, and Little had no other option. He had to back off there. There was no hope for him to go on the site by himself. He's getting mollied, flashed, smoked out of position, so setting up for the retake instead. They've only got a molly and a couple flashes to play with. The Nexus picked up the first kill, and the second one as well. Robo back with two, though. That FAMAS doing work, but it has been silenced. Leaving Patron with his M4. In fact, scratch that. It's an AWP. He's going to be looking to save, so much better switch up of pace from mousesports, and they are going to get 2 consecutive rounds, something they've been sorely lacking so far. Oh, that's probably going to be AWP gone, and indeed it will be. So a nice pick at the end from mousesports. Fluffy Gangsters' economy is going to be in tatters now.
So with that one, the members of the Fluffy Gangsters, they'll still be able to afford one more big investment coming into this round, but it's going to be a bit shaky at best, considering that some guys are a lot less fortunate, as we can see now. The investment is actually going to be very, very minimal, as they've extremely reserved themselves here. Robo, I thought at the very least was going to be able to force himself up with a rifle, but that's not the case. Just upgrading pistols for most of these guys, and everybody except for Little, they're not even going to be able to pick up armor.
This leaves them in a position where they will be able to buy next round, but it's not going to be spectacular. Have a couple of plays maybe on FAMASs or even upgraded pistols, but that's of course if they don't win this round. Who knows, maybe Little's going to pull a rabbit out the hat and go massive, but nope, Nico picks him off, plucks him out of midair. You've seen that position one too many times. AWP is salvageable though and has been picked up from Roman. Doesn't have careful AWP, but don't really need that with the AWP, of course. And that bullet, and it's all good. mousesports with that opening pick though. Interestingly enough, Fluffy Gangsters see a lot of teams in these kind of situations when they go a player down will actually look to play aggressively elsewhere on the map and get some information, but Roman picks off Nico. So 1-for-1 trade. Will favour mousesports though, of course. They've got a massive utility advantage. There is 0 grenades in play for Fluffy Gangsters still.
mousesports kept this as an open book, strategically speaking, with the bomb being placed way back inside of T-spawn. Now they've got to worry though about Choppers opening up a massive flank, which nobody's watching out for at the moment. Speedy though turns around as he's jumping up on top of the Xbox, and that works out perfectly timed to stop the flank from having any big impact. Chopper is eliminated. They flood into this A-bomb site. And for Patron, he has to get himself outside of there pretty quickly, which basically gives full control to mousesports. There's nothing left for the Fluffy Gangsters to do, and they're going to be looking to save the double op setup, which they've sort of just acquired for themselves.
That flank from Chopper is kind of what I was discussing just beforehand, expecting maybe them to push someone through catwalk or try and bounce back in mid, but as you say, completely shut down. Good timing from mousesports and starting to make this more of a respectable scoreline. They'll be up to 6 rounds. Their CT side is pretty solid. Curious to see what Kassan has had in terms of any influence. Hasn't been obviously with them for long at all, so it's hard to know exactly what he is doing behind the scenes for them. But double up save through into the next round. I said before that this would leave their bye fairly lackluster and poor going through into the last round of the half. Keeping 2 ups, now an AK, is definitely going to boost that somewhat. Nice little save from Fluffy Gangsters.
Or even taking down Speedy too, when you consider that the mousesports themselves have yet to be able to stabilize themselves. This is actually going to be great, and I mean, they're literally not saving anything at all. They just go right back into the buy. 2 ups on the T side now, 3 ups for the guys on mousesports here.
Yeah. So, last round of the half, so they can just afford to try and get the firing squad to get back through mid, and then trading out the AWP for the AK. Little, again, look at this, a different position, this time pushing aggressively up catwalk, looking into lower tunnels. No one's home for mousesports, but they could be in a few moments. You can see Chris J starting to edge his way down there. Little gonna have the angle, spots the player and legs on Dennis. This grenade could have damage written all over it, lands right next to him, and pretty slick play from Fluffy Gangsters. Doesn't lose any health in the process, very nice trade out for the CTs.
It's touchdown to take down Dennis early on, and again the Fluffy Gangsters hold an advantage against the mousesports here. As now the rest of them are just going to be stacking up in middle. And this is an issue that they've had to face off against a lot throughout this half when Fluffy Gangsters were essentially just shutting things down, getting it up to like the 8-3 point at some point during this half, I do believe. So now they're going to have to try and recover from that one, and it's going to be a 4-man stack as to where they're taking this as of yet. Nico pressing his way out towards mid. Might be favoring the mid to be split once again, but Speedy's still keeping the bomb back in case things go badly so they can turn this very quickly into a cat hit, and the Fluffy Gangsters are even going to investigate that now too. Chopper and Little are both pushing to deny that option entirely. And if they line this up against them, and Speedy specifically does not find this first kill, this could be shut down before it even begins.
Oh, Roman.
They've got them boxed.
Blue, look at Roman's position. If he plays this right, a hat full of frags, he's going to come around the corner. Just in the nick of time, double spray down is beckoning, but only gets 1 kill. And next will return fire with 2 of his own. Another day, Roman could have had 3. Instead, it's a 2-1-2 with 22 seconds, but Patron could do everything here for his team. There's 20 seconds now, but the bomb in the hands of Nex will be traversing through onto the murky waters of A. And he should get this bomb planted as well.
They're very quickly moving in to try and deny this, though, as they press forward. Robo's already just sitting inside a CT. They hear the plant going, jumping up, trying to go for the Kelly shot. Can't find it just as of yet. And next, he's found one of these now, and all of a sudden, Robo with the op up close. It doesn't seem like too much of a battle, and there we go. Next finds that last tap, takes it down, and it will be mousesports that do manage to recover, making it 8-7 half.
Considering that at one point, mousesports were, what, 8-3 behind, I believe? Well, it's kind of going back to the whole Cloud9 game before as well. They were like 3-7 behind trailing and then bounced back. So what a crazy game of Counter-Strike once again. Now, mousesports, in terms of momentum, in terms of the fact that they've now found their footing a little bit, I said before, they have a couple of emotional players. It's going to do the world of good for their confidence.
All right, guys, well, that is going to end the first half. Be sure to stick around. We'll be right back with the second half in just a few. Another story of the team battling back from the brink, it would seem here, just like we had with our last match with Cloud9. mousesports finally keep themselves a little bit closer here as we come to the end of our first half with them taking on the Fluffy Gangsters, and the Fluffy Gangsters losing a little bit of their own stride here. Now we go on to the second half, though, and this is where, at least from their performance coming off the CIS minor, the Fluffy Gangsters did have a little bit more of a prominency as well as on this T side.
That's a good point. Maybe saving the best till last here, but they'll be very disappointed that they didn't get at least double digits in that first half. It was beckoning for them. They were 8-3 ahead, 4 rounds on the bounce for mousesports, and their economy was constantly like a yo-yo up and down. But if they can get this pistol and start the second half strong, they could be right back into it again. Here we go. Fluffy Gangsters, T-side, going to be starting with a Deagle in the hands of El Patron, so maybe taking a leaf out of Nico's book. USP, of course, going to be used. It's such a solid pistol in these rounds. Chris J gets dinked, though, from downtown.
Little's going to find that nice shot against Chris J. Very, very long range, and with that, he can no longer go out as aggressively as he would like to here. For the rest of the Fluffy Gangsters, though, they're just sitting outside, not even really posturing up to push in through the tunnels, just sitting entirely outside of the area in case somebody from mousesports wanted to get a bit more aggressive. So I'm a bit curious to see how long they're going to keep this position for, because this could be something that they hold for a very long time. But it does not look like it's going to be the case. After some initial waiting, they just push inside of the tunnels and get ready for an execute. But in the meantime, Roman's going to need to be ready himself because there is some presence coming up towards the top mid, and Nico, along with Nex, are going to initially find some good pickups here for the side of Mouse.
Oh, how do they not get the kill onto the play pushed on B? They finally do. And it's pretty mousesports cleaning things up, but just for a second there, I was fearing the worst for them. Getting that second pistol is so massive. Nex, 20 for 13. We often call them Nico Sports, but Nex is one of those other players that you watch for to step up big. 20 bomb already, very well played. Chris J, 3 for 11. That is very surprising to me on a map like Dust2.
He's added him to like 0 presence in this match. I mean, there's not like a point I can recall even like mentioning him besides him going down to other players.
Haven't really seen him get scout or op frags whatsoever, so that is a worrying sign. But I guess that goes to show just how hard Nex is carrying in his place.
Absolutely, and that could prove to be a very bad thing here when you consider how much the ops have to dominate things on the CT side. If he's not going to be able to perform that well, and if we see Fluffy Gangsters taking over in their own regard there, then that could leave a lot open, especially towards middle, for the Fluffy Gangsters to abuse here on this T side when we get into those gun rounds, of course.
2 UMPs, the scout again for Chris J. Meanwhile, Fluffy Gangsters have themselves a couple Deagles, 3 Deagles in fact, with Roman on the Kevlar. So they can learn those sexy one-taps in this round, who's back open again. But mousesports in their positions, with the weapons they have, it's looking pretty damn solid. Chris J has 8 a bit of damage though, down 26. So far so good for the CTs. That grenade could do quite a bit of damage, oh my goodness, the chunk is real. That is definitely worth the 300 bucks.
And Speedy is ready to throw out some more grenades here too, just to try and throw these guys off a little bit, hold them from actually going for the execute here. No HE in his hands, so no more damage going to be done in that regard, but with the primer already being tossed in here against both Patron and Chopper, there we go, he's spotted that, but they've seen him too, so he's got to be careful about this. And a little bit early on the peak, the flashbang I don't think ever actually exploded, so Chopper's just going to take him right at the picture, and now the guys from Fluffy Gangsters get long control.
Should be a clean-up now. From mousesports, you've got to feel they know where the players are. They've got the weapon still, and there's the scout. But Chris J has to go big, and there's so much damage being exchanged. I think there was a dink as well from one of Fluffy Gangsters onto the backside of one of their teammates. 10 seconds to go. Robo's coming around from the side, but Nex is there. We've already discussed how well he's been playing so far, so he's not going to miss out on that opportunity. Dennis will be padding the stats with the M4 headshot on Chopper, and mousesports take the lead for, I think, the first time since round 3.
Yep, ever since, actually, I think it would be like first time since pistol round technically, because they win that round. Let me look at that actually, I can see that. Yeah, basically, they never had the lead with the exception of when they won the pistol round. It was always tied up, and then from that point forward, it was just Fluffy Gangsters running away with it. So with that said now, we'll get into things here. And for the Fluffy Gangsters, after initially starting off well in that last round, just weren't really able to carry that forward and win out the round entirely. I feel like they had a good chance to, like mind game mousesports a little bit there when they initially found that first entry, pushing themselves out towards long, they got controlled. They would have fallen back and gone for a B hit there. mousesports did bite like entirely on that being an A hit, so that's why they were able to shut that down quite potently, especially towards long. But if they rotated over, they might have found an easier time and might have ended upset there. But this one's going to be extremely straightforward. mousesports just shutting down Fluffy Gangsters with style.
Yep, the mission for Fluffy Gangsters now, take as many weapons down with you as possible. Chris J is circling the drain. One bullet and he's a dead man, but he will be positioning himself accordingly up on the cart, using the range to his advantage. If they can take down a weapon or two, that's pretty much job done from Fluffy Gangsters. There's no real hope of them getting anything else done. I suppose a saving grace is they at least have control of the bomb. It's in the hands of Robo, but getting across to the A site is a whole different can of worms that need to be opened. Our patron taking point, lands the shot onto Chris J. That could actually finalize the bomb plant, so this has got a whole lot better for Fluffy Gangsters. Will they win from this position? Very unlikely, but is the bomb going to go down? No, it's not. Nico, just in the nick of time. 2 headshots for him, stops the bomb.
Big mistake there from Fluffy Gangsters and taking a risk on going for a plant position which would benefit them better in the late round. Unfortunately, instead of going for the safe plant spot, they've just lost a decent chunk of change now, which is going to deny players like Little from getting utility stack. Thankfully, though, beyond this is not going to affect them adversely in a very huge manner, as they still have the big buy that they were looking forward beyond this. But at the beginning of the round, immediately, Dennis is also going to get tagged down to 20 HP as the op shot from Little rings true.
Great start for Fluffy Gangsters. They have plenty of grenades to fall back on as well, as a result of getting some kills in the previous rounds. Nico, again, lurking with the UMP. You want to be playing at close range like this. Almost tailor-made for the UMP. Dennis is actually going to go for the crossfire, and with 20 health, one stray grenade could end his life. Nico, close range, spots the shoulder, converts it into the frags, and go for the repeat as well. Second kill, and a third kill for Nico! That UMP crushing Fluffy Gangsters. They'll be trading up to the AK-47. What a play.
He also had the support of Dennis sitting behind him too, and the event even goes down, but he's able to hold that brilliantly. And then Chris J finally chiming in with some potency here, moves up, finds the op shot to take down another member of Fluffy Gangsters. Everything's in the hands of Robo. He's made 0 progress. The bomb is even sitting down at the top of top mid right now, so he has to make so much happen here if he wants to somehow turn this round away. It's not going to be happening. mousesports easily should have an 11th round in their future here.
Don't even lose a single player. Started off with Dennis losing 80% of his health. Everyone survives. That is going to be the world of good to mousesports and their economy. Here's a play from Nico again. I think that's just a purely timing thing. They didn't expect him to push in without the flashbang accompanying him. Totally caught them out. Rip Fluffy Gangsters.
Not only this too, but now they've just upgraded to the double op setup for free. Nico's picking that one up, and they've got a very strong setup with very minimal investment here, since Fluffy Gangsters don't make any impact at all on their first real investment of the half. And already Nico shutting some more down, takes down Chopper. And I imagine that's going to hold back the rest of them from peeking again.
Absolutely. They're terrified to repeat Nico on form. They've got no grenades either, apart from a smoke in the hands of Roman. And do they really want to expend that just to try and play the mind game? Surely you want to try and put that down for an all-out charge with these kind of weaponry.
Dennis at long range here now, trying to take down some of these guys from top mid, tap it away, and there we go, 2 in a row for him. Shuts out Roman and Patron. Chris J follows it up with another one to take down Robo, and Dennis finds the final kill. 0 progress, again, made by the Fluffy Gangsters on that eco.
As they talk about his one-taps, pretty sexy stuff from Dennis. Chris J landed a pretty nice shot as well through the door, into the forehead.
It's the communication out pretty quickly there, and there we go, just shuts it down, grabs a timing shot. So mousesports, after a bit of a bumpy start on that first half, it seems like Fluffy Gangsters, good performance on the T side from the CIS miner. It's definitely not carrying over here at the beginning, and again, there's an early tag that comes out from Little. It connects on the Nex, brings him down to 22 HP. He's done this before, but now the rest of his team needs to come through as well to actually get themselves onto his site, find the plant, and win out the round.
Yeah, last time he tagged it was Dennis on 20 HP, but they ended up winning the round without losing anybody. It was that sick play from Nico that separated the two teams. Let's see if he can rinse and repeat, or if this time if Fluffy Gangsters can finally grasp onto a round. So far, it's 5-0 on this half.
No plants being found either out of all 5 of those rounds from the Fluffy Gangsters. Haven't been able to get that bomb on the ground even once, so the economy is not in a good place for the T's. Despite the fact that they're now on the full losing bonus here, they're still not getting that extra cash, which means there's not going to be constant buys, because these aren't close rounds. These are just shutdowns with mousesports winning them outright.
Very one-sided indeed. Double up setup for mousesports has flirted with danger. Nico missed a shot. He'll be disappointed by up and pit, which is on Little. Definitely turn the tides in their favor somewhat, but completely vacating A site for now, instead putting most of their pressure and presence through onto catwalk side. Still holding the angle though from Speedy, and Nico's going to go for the peek through mid. 2 players down there, 1 in B tunnels, lands the shot onto Robo. Beforehand though, Nex did fall. 1-for-1 trade.
And the rest of the guys on the Fluffy Gangsters grouping up towards middle now. Looking like they could push their way over towards Cat, but they do have Nico around the corner to deal with. That was going to be a little bit timid. Falls back initially, but he's going to push right up into the face of these guys. Takes down Patron. Finally, Roman trades that back out. 20 seconds left on that clock, though, and they still have to find their way onto the site itself. Thankfully, the site is clear. Speedy's going to retreat back inside of CT spawn and let them get themselves onto the site. And a lot of them splitting up too. A smart decision, as it would appear, to keep Chopper behind. He's able to take down Dennis, but I don't think he wanted that molly to spread in that pattern specifically. So Chris J is going to walk right in, take him down. We're back into a 2-on-2. Little's there to support Roman. They're just using the cross at this point. And with that, they should be able to take down Speedy, but they still have to worry about Chris J, who's lurking his way in on the Cat 2. But with him only at 5 HP, in theory, this should be an easy closeout for the Fluffy Gangsters. The smoke as well. There we go. Roman doesn't even need the support of Little. He's just going to shut them down on his own.
Finally, they get themselves on the board. Interesting enough, pick up the second AWPs. They're going to be running with double AWP setup. Will mousesports pull the trigger and get themselves two as well? Yes, they will. So we're going to have quad AWPs in play. 22 for 14 for Nex. Nico just behind him with 21. Definitely stepped things up massively from the first half. Little is going to get another tag. This time he does miss, but he's been pretty consistent with landing those shots so far.
Chopper very quick out to mid. I don't even think they realize he's here at this point in time. Look, Speedy's not checking inside of the pit at all. He's found that first pickup, but Chopper keeps getting flashed. He's found the kill at the very least on the Speedy, but it doesn't end up being as big of a deal as it would have seemed previously because he's already taken down one of his teammates.
Intelligent play from Chopper. When you see that smoke go down, it's a pretty solid position for the CTs to hide in. So just preemptively decide to tap through that. Reap the rewards with the kill. That being said though, mousesports still have their 2-star players in this map alive and kicking. One of which, Nico, is going to be using a position that Little had quite a lot of reward from himself. Bomb dropped out in long, going to get picked up. Still plenty of time to play with Fluffy Gangsters, and they have 2 smokes to play with as well. So could just smoke the cross and look to try and execute on A, pardon me. It's Roman that's over on the B side in tunnels.
And it's much more passive from mousesports to defend this A-bomb site. Nico up on top of the platform here, trying to prevent a push in that direction. He's going to get flashed initially, which means this is going to be close quarters. The molly coming out to try and force some of those players. Picks up the first one on Chopper, looking for a second, but little does he know that El Patron is sitting right there with an op of his own to take him down. And now Little moving up to the car position. Again, another player has sort of snuck their way in very close without them even realizing it. It's going to be Dennis going to take down Little as soon as he sees him here. It's actually Nex that steals it from behind. Now Dennis is able to push forward, though. Patron shuts it down. He's already got 2 on the marker this time. Can he find a third? No, Nex says no to that one. And then Chris J comes in with the final pickup to take down Roman.
Yeah, Fluffy a bit too spread out there on that attempted defense, and very nicely done from mousesports. Going to be keeping the AWPs in play. 13-9, they move. How's the economy looking like for Fluffy Gangsters? As a result of the bomb plan, it's a little bit better than I expected, but still not good enough to get a full healthy buyout. So it looks like they may just go for a half buy. That's pretty much best case scenario for them. Just trying to equalize the economy somewhat.
Saving up here, they should be able to get themselves. They should be able to get themselves to a point where we could be looking at the double opposite again in theory. But actually, with those bigger investments coming in now on Little Roman, that may not be the case anymore. Regardless, though, it's quick again from the Fluffy Gangsters, moving out towards long to take control. Flashbangs coming in from both sides. Doesn't let either team really do much, but it will be Robo that finds the first kill against Dennis, and for now control the initial area outside of the doors.
The only downside for Fluffy Gangsters is they're not able to pick up the assault rifle from mousesports. They'd have loved to got their hands on that, but it has been dropped out in the middle of no man's land. They have to go behind enemy lines. Nico peering through the smoke. It has now been picked up for Little. Nico can have a little gap in the smoke to try and use, but there's 2 players that have already moved to his left-hand side. He could be out in the open here. He's very vulnerable once that smoke clears. There's going to be players left, right, and center, but he's picked up the kill and backs away as well. How is that even possible? Fluffy Gangsters don't get the avenging frag.
Without any presence on Cat 2, you can see the members of mousesports looking towards that to try and stop any trades from coming in, but it's not even an option to begin with for the Fluffy Gangsters. They're going to have to give up this long hit entirely. They do leave Roman behind to try and take down anybody that looks to chase them down, but the game is going to be switched up at this point for the Fluffy Gangsters, and I believe they're going to try to go for a B hit instead.
You can see how spread out they are, though. You've still got Roman, who's over on long, on A. Maybe going to be trying to play interference. Keep mousesports interested over on the A side. Chris J by himself. He has been having a bit of a lackluster performance so far, but this is his moment to shine. And with the fact that Roman's gone down, now it has to be all systems go over on the B side. Chris J lands the shot, bomb trapped out in the middle of nowhere, and gets a second as well. Good haul for Chris. And mousesports now take a 5-round lead. And Fluffy Gangsters actually don't have a solid buy to fall back on either.
Talked a bit about Chris J being somewhat of a non-presence at the beginning of this half, but he's recovered already to a big stride, already overcoming some of his other teammates there too. Speedy is now the bottom fragger for his team, but ever since he's gotten on the CT side, his own performance has just improved by leaps and bounds.
I suppose if your teammates are getting all the kills, there's only so much you can do, really. There's only so much you can get in terms of players against you. But Little's got the first kill, which is massive. He's on a glass cannon AWP. Meaning, of course, the rest of his team doesn't have a great deal of grenades to play with, but Speedy goes looking, and he will get punished, and that's a bit of a misplay for me. mousesports must have read the situation and realized that Fluffy Gangsters would be onto a force buy with very lackluster grenades, so why are you going looking there? You just gift wrap to kill across to the terrorist side.
These big spouts of aggression all of a sudden too in this round from mousesports where it really wasn't necessary, like just going for these direct peeks out in the B tunnels and pushing out towards long doors and whatnot. It's a sudden change that wasn't present before, and again, the same thing with Nico here too. Dennis is going to play aggressively. Finally, it turns out that they can actually win a 1v1 by doing this, but Patron's going to be sitting behind the Xbox. Robo takes out another player, and it's all in the hands of Dennis to win a 1v3. I think the one thing he has going for him is they do not know he's pushed this aggressively out towards mid, but everybody else from Fluffy Gangsters moves away from that area quick enough. But I think he'll be able to get at least one of these kills for free. Going to make contact with a Molly on the way back, but there we go. Chopper's watching out for the retake from that angle, and he's just going to shut it down. Fluffy Gangsters not giving up just as of yet. They're going to keep this close at 10-14.
All of that off the back of two players going looking and getting themselves killed for free. mousesports had that round in the palm of their hands, and it slipped through. They do have a very solid buy straight away, though. Double ops again. If Fluffy Gangsters win this, they can take this incredibly close. mousesports will be onto an eco. Full AKs coming in suggests that maybe we're going to see more of an aggressive play from Fluffy Gangsters. That seems to be the case. The smoke's slightly missing, though. In actual fact, that may have been thrown from the CTs on the cross. Not entirely sure. That being said, they're executing fast. It's going to come down to the hands of Chris J. Misses the first shot. Gets flashbang down. It's going to have a chance for seconds. Very nearly team kills next, but then goes down. It's gone horribly wrong for mousesports.
So much
a 4-on-2.
So much chaos happening there too upon the take as members of mousesports just try so quickly to get in positions for retake, but they lose every single individual battle they get themselves into. And with them all being so split up and so many battles happening at once, there's not. I imagine both teams' team speaks there were just absolute chaos, so nothing can be properly communicated. At the end of the day, Fluffy Gangsters are just better at reacting on the hairpins there. So Speedy's going to be the last one left alive for mousesports, simply by the virtue that he was so far away from the action. There's just nothing he can do here in the 1v4. Everybody's already moved out to hunt him down, essentially. And the pause will be coming in for Nico at this point now to give mousesports a few minutes to sort of analyze the situation.
That's exactly it. This pause isn't for the next round. It's just to cool their heads a little bit. They're not going to have the economy to get a decent buy next round. This is for more round 27. Speedy looks like he could be saving this M4, which could lend credence to a few more weapons in the next round, but as I mentioned, they're not going to have a full buy this one. Instead, the tactical pause comes out. As a result of what I said before, that with their economy being in this very dodgy position, 14-11, it can easily drag back to a 14-14, so just stop that before it becomes an issue.
Yeah, and with that being equated so quickly here too, it's like, another thing too is all of a sudden the Fluffy Gangsters changing up their own pace, and it's still going well. mousesports going for their own sudden change of pace in the last couple of rounds, and that going miserably. With those sorts of changes coming in, all of a sudden mousesports just look a lot weaker overall, where previously in this half they just looked flawless to a certain degree.
That's it. They've been mixing their pace up. They've been playing aggressively through mid. We've seen them aggressive on B. Maybe highlighting Chris J is a bit of an issue for mousesports, and he has missed quite a few shots on that approach. So I feel like we may see more B executes coming in here for Fluffy Gangsters. This next round, they more than likely know that mousesports are onto an eco, so they may play a bit slower and allow the CTs to almost hang themselves, to trap themselves in a bad position. But mousesports are on the brink of going to a 14-14 kind of scoreline here.
Another thing too is I don't really feel like we're seeing bad performances at the moment, at least off of a first glance from anybody on the Fluffy Gangsters. Like most of these teammates seem to be pulling their weight, where there has clearly been situations in this map where members of mousesports are just not really showing up all that much. That first half was all Nex. It was like the Nex show.
Yeah. When you look at the kill disparity between the two teams, there's 20 kill difference between Nex and Speedy. On the side of Fluffy Gangsters, you've got a 5 kill difference.
Yeah.
So it goes to show that on the side of Fluffy Gangsters, everybody's pulling a pretty decent level, whereas on the side of mousesports, you've got Nex and Nico who are just godlike right now. The rest of the team's falling down a little bit behind them.
There's always an issue. There's a lot of teams in North America specifically that have that sort of top-heavy thing, and it's a very consistent thing that happens with the team where you have like 1 or 2 stars and 3 fairly average guys joining them to party around with them a little bit. But that leads to an issue specifically on the CT side, where you basically just figure out where those big guys are playing from and avoid those situations as much as you can for the entire CT half. And then when you go onto the T side, if you take those 2 guys down, because they're more than likely going to be the point man since they're the best fraggers, then all right, then now you basically have the round in your hand because the rest of the team is just so easy to take down, and that seems to be an issue right now for mousesports.
What I'd quite like to see from mousesports in this next round, if they decide to go for the eco, which I think is definitely the wise decision, maybe give Nico a deagle, let him try and push up mid, let him try to do something crazy. Let him just shine, or next, one of the two of them. Because this round is likely going to be a tap out round, it's going to be bite the bullet moment. Let's try something crazy. Let's try and jump on all cylinders. Next has a deagle. Let's see what he can do with it. It's going to be a B stack actually, with Next going mid.
It's weird that they give Speedy the rifle though, when you consider how poor his performance has been.
Because he's got the Kevlar, I think.
Yeah, compared to the rest of the team, but at the very least he does have that sitting behind him.
And he saved the weapon from the last round, so I think it's just a case of you've got the Kevlar, we'll stack behind you, maybe absorb some of the bullets, you get the return kills. They are trying something different. Give them credit for that. Oh, Chris J with a WSP headshot, cheeky. And if they can get their hands on that weapon, this round is wide open. Speedy's ate a lot of damage though, down to 16. And Fluffy Gangsters now surely push on to A, realizing what's happening, but there's the push-up mid I was talking about. mousesports have completely strategically outplayed Fluffy Gangsters in this round.
And now all of a sudden they've got them pinched back into. Chopper and Little are going to look to make up for all their mistakes previously in this round by pushing very quickly over to the A-bomb site. Next will be waiting for them, but he doesn't decide to proactively stop them from getting into the site just as of yet, since he himself is so low. Speedy's lost a wrap back in, as does Nico. So they're going to look to try and hold this with the man advantage for now and regroup this as a team together. Nico a little bit late to the party, but we'll be joining in with these guys.
They now have their hands on 3 assault rifles. The problem is 2 incredibly low players, no defuse hits. The jump out, Little misses his chance. Is that going to cost him his life and his team the round? Does land on the second time of asking, but he's running out of... Oh, no, he's not. What am I even thinking for a second? I was like, Little has lost this round. Nope, pulls out the sidearm. Easy kills, easy round.
Finally realizes, like, wait, these guys are low. Oh, let me just whip out the pistol and finish this off then. Now that I've taken down the player at high HP.
I thought he'd lost his life though, honestly. I thought his days are numbered. Nope, destroys them.
That first shot missing, I thought was going to be, like,
Yeah.
I heard the bells tolling there as well. Like, they can just rush him now, but they were still a little bit passive about the way they approached him there. They gave him room to recover on those up shots, and then ultimately he figures out the final 2 were low anyway, and just whips out the pistol and finishes them off.
So mousesports back to their standard play. Understandable in the rifle round. When you have the deagle in play, makes total sense. And effectively an eco round. Now you are on that brink. You're looking down from the precipice, and you're noticing that maybe, just maybe, Fluffy Gangsters are trekking their way up towards you to meet you halfway. You have to be so careful. Every decision could be crucial. And let's remember what's on the line here as well for mousesports. You want to start well in this qualification for the major. This was, a lot of people would say, guaranteed win for mousesports. It's been anything but so far.
And the Fluffy Gangsters definitely need to give credit to them too. It's surprising in such a big way, bringing this strong of a performance to the table, where I think a lot of people were sort of expecting them to go out without a fight here. They're keeping it very close, and in all honesty, still have a very real chance to win this map still.
Very true. Smoke's coming down into mid. Nico, he's just starting left and right, just in case that pop flash comes through. He wants to make sure he isn't going to be affected by it. The Fluffy Gangsters not really pulling the trigger just yet. Molotoving onto Catwalk. Moving into Nico. This could be the play right here. If he sees that barrel of the gun sticking through, he will start spraying. We saw him do this with UMP before. That's the reason he looks to his left-hand side. Double headshots for him. And a third as well. Nico's done this once, and he's going to do it twice. They line up for Dennis. He's not good for any kills, but Nico's surely done the damage in this round.
Next has got the final 2 are coming into this site too, so Nico could just roll right back in, but it's Next to finish off the final 2. Both of them are low, but both of them pull off some incredible plays to hold it. And with that, mousesports finally gets themselves up to match point here. 15-12. For the guys at the Fluffy Gangsters, very quickly we find themselves almost in a completely broken economical situation. They're going to have to bargain themselves to be able to get a full buy going here. A couple players downgrading the Tech 9s or Galeals.
So sick. The reason he kept looking to his left is to stop that pop flash, and you saw it happen there. Just perfect timing. 3 kills for Nico. Round for mousesports. Tech 9 at the hands of El Patron, but we have seen them do the work with less weapons than this. Roman gets the kill through smoke while flashbanged onto Nico. That's a big scalp to take. But a 1-for-1 trade, with the fact that mousesports have so many more grenades, should favor them, you'd think. But who knows? Maybe Fluffy Gangsters just pile out a mid and land themselves some headshots.
Fluffy Gangsters right now just sticking to the top mid, not really moving from there whatsoever. And at the same time, mousesports remaining much more passive now too, holding back and no reason to rush out as of yet. Next, he's going to be grouping up with Dennis though. They can spot the presence coming in towards mid. The smoke should allow Dennis to retreat around the corner, safely getting himself out of this hot pocket here. For the rest of the Fluffy Gangsters though, a decision needs to be made as to where they want to take this towards a site. They found that even trade, they are fairly limited though when you look at their utility. A single smoke to use with this entire team, and a couple flashbangs, mollies, and HEs spread out beyond that one. It's not really a whole lot. Already using one of those flashbangs. It looks like it's going to be a mid to B split. They need to commit to it here pretty shortly to start this.
mousesports had a pretty big advantage in terms of grenades, but they've expended quite a few of them right now, and not holding on to any smokes anymore, no incendiaries either, so the advantage they had has quickly dwindled away. Dennis has spotted himself a couple of shoulders peeking around the corner. He needs to land one of these kills. He can't get it done, but he did bait out long enough for Next to strike. That being said, B now has been given up. As a result, Little peering through with his orb to try and craft the masterpiece for himself and keep Fluffy Gangsters on Dust. Nice no-scope onto Next, but his partner in crime of Robo has been picked up. Second kill from Little, and a third. He's going to clutch it and keep Fluffy Gangsters in this map. What is happening?
Fluffy Gangsters, again, it's Little that pulls off an incredible clutch. And now for themselves, they've kept themselves in this match. And looking at the side of mousesports here too, their own money has been de-equalized so much. They're not even going to be able to buy up this round. They're ecoing. They've already made that decision. Just upgraded pistols, and for those that can afford it, they're bringing armor into the picture. So a huge round, a huge clutch from Little. Two of them being no scopes of the 3 kills that he needs to pick up there. It keeps Fluffy Gangsters in this game and puts them only 2 rounds away from taking this into OT.
Little did I know when I said he needs to craft the masterpiece, he'd do just that. That is ridiculous, sensational Counter-Strike, and he's just chimed on once again. First kill in the next round. Will that be the moment where mousesports' back was broken? Next may have a couple things to say about that. No, he's not. Get silence from Chopper, who closes his mouth firmly. Now mousesports win this round or go to overtime, and look at that economy. No warp's going to be in play. That much is for sure.
And the issue as well with the top of your performance is just continues to elevate itself here as we get further and further, I mean, at the very last round of regulation time here, where Nex and Nico lead the way for mousesports, 31 frags and 27 frags on both of them respectively. The next highest player is Dennis, down at 18. Just under 10 frags below the man who's in second place at this point in time.
Fast play. It's almost the perfect counter to this double scout. The thing is, only 2 players are filtering through themselves and they're not stacking these grenades. That's going to actually play into the scouts. If Fluffy Gangsters pushed together, it could have been a complete bloodbath.
Lost the bomb too. It's stuck. They've got to commit to this one. Robo's going to be able to strike back a little bit here by finding Chris J. And Nico might have overcommitted. No, but he's going to jump up. Takes down El Patron, but Chopper and Little have bounced back with 2 more of their own kills. The guys from mousesports are not done just as of yet, however. They box Little out and take him down before he can group up with the rest of his teammates here on the site. And now, mousesports are going to be going for the very quick retake back over here from Cal. This is easily readable though, but the problem though is that Robo is way back right now inside of the pit and is essentially relying on Chopper to stay alive long enough for these guys to get close up and personal.
Everything falls on Chopper. Oh, and he will oblige with the first headshot, and he knows where Speedy is as well. Just has to keep playing this game of whack-a-mole, and he comes out ahead. The hunter becomes the hunted. Fluffy Gangsters, who would have guessed it, take us to overtime.
And now, guys, it is going to be regular overtime rules here. It's going to be MR3, 10K start money for those of you that are curious about that one. We should be jumping into it at any moment. What an incredible comeback from the Fluffy Gangsters. Seems like they were done here as mousesports, just from an individual basis and a team basis as well, had a huge increase of their own performance here on the CT side, but it was not enough at the end. Some huge clutches carry them back from the brink, and they tie things up at 15 rounds.
That's who literally just walked over to the door and just shrugged. That pretty much sums it all up.
So, obviously the incredible happening here now, and for mousesports, like the big question for these guys becomes, well, what exactly do we do now as this goes into overtime?
Well, let's also go back and take stock of the situation. They were 8-7 trailing at halftime, win the first 5 rounds on their CT side. And you're thinking, okay, it's cruise control. mousesports just win from this point. And then right at the last hurdle, Little's 1v3, ridiculous artwork kept them in this map, and it could be the determining factor. Because I said before, mousesports will often get emotional, will often start beating themselves up over these brute chances. They've got to put their head back on their shoulders again. This is where Kassad needs to come through for them. Roman, maybe should have done better from that position, but he is found out and fragged from Speedy. Actually did no damage at all from there. That's very surprising.
A bit unfortunate now, considering he gets that advanced position so quickly. And for mousesports here now, they still hold most of the map under their own control. Good way to try and recover from this one very quickly. If they could shut down these guys right from the get-go, and that is going to be a good precursor to allow them to get up to the 19 rounds that is required to close this out on the first overtime. But still sitting back, still waiting to see. And the members of the Fluffy Gangsters are waiting for a mistake to be made from mousesports that they can take advantage of to try and tie this back up down to a 4-on-4.
The Juggernaut has been momentarily stopped. Fluffy Gangsters. Bomb back at T-spawn. Declaration of intent. Not going to be looking for any fast pushes anytime soon. Just feeling out mousesports, looking for a vulnerability, a weakness that they can try and exploit. Smoke through onto the CT side. HE as well. Nico waiting for the pop flash. Thing is though, that's 2 flashes going to be expended for absolutely nothing as he's just about to find out. So vital flashbangs thrown out for nothing in return. But Fluffy Gangsters only have 30 seconds left to push through on. They're going to have to make every second count from here now. What a headshot is from Speedy. Onto Speedy, I should say. Bomb though on the other side of the map.
This is where I'm curious as to what exactly the grand scheme of the plan is, because now they've got to deal with Chris J as well if they want to sell this fake over towards long. But look, it's working! They pulled them out of their positions, and Dennis just shut down. Not only this, but Nex is boxed out of the sight. Thankfully, though, they did think of this to a certain degree. Nico was working on a flank inside of those tunnels to begin with. Robo's got another kill on the Nex. Robo's going to turn around, but not quick enough. Nico takes him down, looking for a second one. Brings one of the players down to just 24 HP and waits for him to peek. He shut it down. The site's wide open now. Chopper, though, is on his way. Nico's got to be careful of that one, but Chopper taking this very slowly. Nico already waiting for him too. Chris J with the jump up finds the shutdown on a Chopper, and Mousesports do recover. Picking up the first round here in overtime.
That round of Counter-Strike pretty much just highlights timing. You saw Mousesports start to vacate B just as Chris J gets picked off, and from there on in you're thinking, okay, it's done. And Fluffy Gangsters end up getting timed themselves. Mousesports somehow dodge multiple bullets, keep themselves in this overtime, and indeed this map. Losing that first round would have been brutal for them. Right back to the drawing board for Fluffy Gangsters. Even when they're losing rounds, they're getting so close.
So now they've got to push themselves out again. It's going to be Robo that looks for the early push. Speedy, though, has thought of this one. He's going to go to the edge of that smoke there. Wants to make sure that nobody gets control. Look at how fast this cat control attempt is coming in for the Fluffy Gangsters, though. Chris J finds the initial pickup there, shutting down one. There's a second for him to take down Chopper. Looking for a third peek as well, but Speedy's going to fall back from long to assist on that one. Little trying to round this back for his team. Finds a second pickup on his own. Trying to take down the third player there, but Chris J, although he's gone down, there's still a presence back over towards the ramp. Dennis, though, is out in the open, and there's just a free shot for Little. He takes down Dennis, and all of a sudden, we're tied up again in a 2-on-2. The one thing the Mousesports do have going for them is that they drop the bomb, so it's stuck on Cap, which means they still have to commit themselves to the A bomb set eventually. But with a 2-on-2, this is still a situation which they can recover.
It absolutely is, and there's time to play with for Fluffy Gangsters, so they can really play the mind games. Little's missed the shot, and he is going to end up getting put down as a result, and that could have been everything for Fluffy Gangsters. Although Little did his part in this round, 3 kills with his AWP. That now puts all the pressure down on Robo. He's been another player for Fluffy Gangsters who has been pretty solid today. The bomb still dropped out in the same position, but it is salvageable from where Robo is. He's going to be peering his way across.
He's creeping in right now. He's got the bomb back in hand. 35 seconds left to play with. Doesn't look like he's going to be retreating to go for a quick rush over to the B bomb site. In fact, Hud's down next, grabs him. That's a free kill for him. He's going to be able to find the plan as well. Now, how does Speedy approach this? With the op in hand, moves up. Almost, we're seeing Robo give himself away. And with that, Speedy decides, yep, I'm going to need to pick up the rifle for this one. So runs back and trades it out pretty quickly. Robo sees the pressure coming in, connects some damage, is trying to take this battle at long range. 0 damage done so far to Robo by Speedy. And Robo only needing really 1 or 2 more shots to be able to close this out. Speedy lurking his way in, might try to go for the jump shot to get some intel here. But Robo now is ready for him out in the open, and he's got the health advantage there. He's going to close it out, and the Fluffy Gangsters respond right back by tying this up again at 16 rounds.
Again, the timing on the side of Fluffy Gangsters. There's a number of times where Mousesports just turn their back at the wrong possible second, the worst possible second. 2 30 bombs dropped from Mousesports. 63 kills between Nex and Nico.
There was a match earlier on, I think the flip side match. It was like 56% of the kills were spread between 2 to 5 of the members. This is an extreme exaggeration where we have that sort of a case happening again. Just 2 guys doing so much work for a single team.
So 2 guys that you'd be hoping would do the work as well. The only sad news from Mousesports is that Chris J hasn't had as much impact, but he definitely has been stepping up since that first half. I think he dropped 3 kills in the first half on Terrorist side. Smoke's coming through now. It's on that man. The man in question, Chris J, is going to be lurking in the smoke for now, in the shadows. Whereas Fluffy Gangsters can try and push something out through mid, but they are in their embracing arms. And the scope from Chris J comes good. Here comes a spray from Nex. Now a step up to the plate is Dennis. He misses out on his chance. Robo with 2 kills. Pushes through smoke. He's not going to get a third, but it's another 2-on-2.
Robo's position just might have saved them in this round. They're going to get themselves into the safe pretty quickly, but they do have to be cautious of Dennis, who's still up close to the door. Just going to rush right in. Might even be able to take down the planter, but he misjudges the position of where the bomb is actually being planted from, so Roman's going to stay alive for now. So much happening, though, and Dennis finds another pickup there, takes down Little. All they're going to do is eliminate Roman now, but he's going to line some of them up. It's not enough, though. Speedy finds the final frag, and Mousesports again in a very chaotic retake. Still managed to keep things together, and they're going to find a 17th round as this ends the first half of OT number 1.
Could you imagine if we came into this game and I was like, look, it's going to be overtime.
I think one of the analysts predicted 16-0, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I thought it would be like 16 or 16-1 sort of territory. I said maybe Fluffy Gangsters could get double digits if things align for them. I never ever expected this result.
They are definitely keeping themselves in a very, very good shape to try and battle this back. Eventually, though, as this gets into overtimes number 2 and 3, this does become like a war of attrition as to how much energy these players can continue to carry from half to half to half as it moves onwards here. And we will see, of course, heading directly into the second half now, Fluffy Gangsters jumping back onto that CT side and mousesports on the T side once more. Just who could maybe end things here.
In the rifle rounds in the first half, mousesports got the better of them on their T side. Most of the rounds that Fluffy Gangsters got were in these half-buy kind of situations that catapult them to an 8-3 lead. So I feel like that should favor mousesports, but then Little, Robo, these guys have really been pulling out some cracking plays. Nico now just holding mid, waiting for a push. Nothing forthcoming as of yet. And Fluffy Gangsters really weren't that aggressive on their CT side either. I think we saw Little once or twice push up catwalk, but that was about it.
They were very, very passive. In fact, that was something to remark too, is they were saving in situations where they absolutely had chances to retake, stuff like that happening quite a bit. But now mousesports, they're going to slowly creep out. Roman, though, look at his good position. He's going to line two of the players up. He cannot actually take down Nex initially, and this combined with some of the more aggressive movements going well for the guys on mousesports. They've opened up the B bomb site here. Speedy shutting down Little, and Dennis moves in for the closer to take down Chopper. That's a good start to the T half now for mousesports, and they're only going to be one more round away from closing out this map.
Roman was the man. Fluffy needed to step up. He needed to get at least 2 kills from that position. Very nearly did just that. Next got dinked, but that wasn't good enough. And now 2 map points for mousesports. But we saw them in a similar position in regulation, and Fluffy Gangsters brought it back. Can they do it again?
Members of mousesports very quickly moving themselves over here towards the long doors. And the number 8 man Speedy actually out into the open pretty quickly too. He does have to fall back because of the molly pressure coming in outside, but now as well, some players lining up to get some intel on Cat, not spotting anything there. They're out to mid already.
Very few grenades for Fluffy Gangsters, only 1 kit as well. Robo going to be trying to flash his way up, and actually only flashes his teammate. Roman can't see a thing. He's going to put down the FAMAS. Very nearly on point for 2 kills. Dennis with a cheeky position through the smoke is putting it all out for Fluffy Gangsters, and now it has to be a 2-on-4. Make that a 1-on-4, but it's the man. It's Little. We've seen him pull off a crazy play before. Can he get another one? This is such a difficult position, though, to get any kills from, in all honesty.
No. Oh.
He does get a nice shot into Dennis, who went for the knife. But he did that because the time is so low now on the bomb, and this is a stretch.
Yeah, Little's going to have to pull off a miracle. He's got no utility as well. Look at all the mollies. He's going to burn himself as he rolls in, and it'll be Speedy that shuts it down. 19-16 in the favor of mousesports is how we will end this map. And it was a very competitive one, a very impressive one for Fluffy Gangsters, considering what we expected them coming into it. But ultimately, the team that was expected to win does indeed triumph here. mousesports does take it.
Yeah, they triumph, but nowhere near the way that I expected that to go down. Fluffy Gangsters, and Little in particular, take a bow, because you showed a lot of people what you're capable of doing. You know, this is a big stage for them. They haven't played at this kind of level before. They've got a lot of decent results, but around, you know, tier 3, tier 4 kind of teams. They just took it to mousesports, and a map like Dust2, mousesports used to be beasts at this map. So, wow, I want to see if Fluffy Gangsters can rinse and repeat against other teams as well.
And easily the biggest issue there for mousesports is just their overall their T set. They do manage to finally recover things by the end of the half, and as well, not really too many issues there in overtime as well. But we see Nico getting a pretty slow start on the T side there. We don't really see too much of him until the end of that first half, and Chris J is basically absent for the entirety of that first half as well.
Absolutely, and it's not as if he didn't have any chances. He had scouts, he had AWPs, he just got 3 or 4 kills in the first half. He did start to pick it up towards the latter half of the CT side, and then in overtime he got a couple of big kills. But he's a player on Dust2 that you need to be stepping up. You need to be getting, you know, the 20 plus kills. Either way, his teammates managed to pick up the slack. Though.
Yeah, and that lends an issue now to the problem of now they're going to be seeded up into the higher pool where they're going to have to go against the teams that also won their matches for today. So considering that, the challenges are only going to get tougher as the days continue, and they still need to win 2 more maps here to be able to make it through to the major. And with the competition only getting tougher, as they made it into the higher seeded pool now, that could prove to be an issue now, especially considering just how rough the T side was in general.
I wonder if that's going to make them shy away from Dust2 going through into the future.
Indeed it will, but anyway guys, it looks like the analysts are ready, so we're going to toss it down to them.
You two. That's our 4th game then done and dusted, and I'm starting to feel less silly for believing in Fluffy Gangsters. That was a spectacular performance then from the CIS team, and I do want to kind of quickly just address how weak Mouse looked at points there, Vendetta. You were suggesting that everything looked like it was going to plan. I want to bring to highlight that second round in particular, where you said this is a round that Mouse do really well, and then they proceeded to throw it away.
I said the theory behind it is really good.
Okay.
Because I said it in the pregame as well. Mousesports are known for switching their brains off at times when they play Dust2, and it happens every now and again. So you have moments of brilliance where they play the map like they theorized it, and it's brilliant. But then you have slip-ups like you saw in that second round after winning Pistol. They have a really well-thought-out anti-eco that goes out through long, so already you have a good basis of it, just playing off the ranged advantage that you have. Solid, amount of Molotovs that they invest into it to just basically clear out the entire site. But they mess up their smoke, get tagged through with the Scout. Robo on the backstab hits an absolutely crazy shot on the guy in pit, which has to be said. Obviously, with that, if that doesn't happen, then that doesn't really allow for Fluffy to actually get into it. But they start messing about and making things really hard for themselves. And that's kind of the recurring theme for Mousesports throughout this game, in my opinion. And that's what I was afraid of when we actually went to Dust2.
Yeah, outstanding work, though, from Nex and Nico. These two, man.
Oh, those two are incredible throughout the game. And it's not weird seeing them at the forefront, but normally you classically think Dust2, you think Christian, you think Nico, of course, but then seeing Nex, there was actually a really nice complementary style to it, and eventually, over time, it looked like, Mouse are back looking more comfortable, but there was still that, was it a 2v5 that they kind of got a little bit pushed on, which is kind of terrifying to see?
Which raises little. Can we just discuss this man?
What a player. Let's be very honest, for a guy to come in, individually, he was absolutely sick. Yeah. Like the double AWP anyway was pretty impressive with that side, and they had a lot of players who seemed able to use it as well, because Robbo had it at one point.
On the CT side, he was pretty...
Elpatron had it on others, so they looked like they're actually well-rounded players altogether, so credit to them, they challenged Mouse. It wasn't just Mouse making mistakes, you know, Fluffy Gangsters were actually pushing them pretty hard there.
They certainly were, and we're actually going to hear from the man himself, someone that we were going to, criticize because of his performance. Chris J struggled to get it going on that first half, and he's standing by with Mitch now to answer a couple of our questions and queries regarding Dust2.
Thank you very much, guys. I'm here with the Flying Dutchman of mousesports himself, Chris J. Close one, that one. Dust2 is a map we often see some exciting results from you guys on as well. I mean, it's one we often see you play. But let's go back to the start. All right, back when you were on T-side to start things off there, we started to see you guys actually play quite slowly, or at least it seemed to us when we're talking about it, working down long as 5 and stuff like that. You were getting picked off a little bit before getting to the sites. Is this something you reflect on and say, oh, we were slow, or we messed this up? Was there anything particular that sort of put you behind after the first few rounds, you think?
Like I remember, we won the pistol, and then the second round we indeed went quite slow over long, and I don't know, one of us got picked over while crossing the CT, and I think there was a smoke there. I don't know if he got killed through the smoke or not, but I got hit by Scout then as well, and then someone rushed me with pistol. Suddenly things fell apart, and I don't know if it's about slow or not, but they hit some nice shots in that round for sure, and this brought us off our balance a bit. So.
Sure, I mean, the game went sort of longer than a lot of people would have predicted on the desk as well. A lot of people picked you guys as coming out on top a bit more comfortably than that one. From your perspective and the team, are you guys satisfied with that result for game 1, I guess, of this event?
Well, it's a win, so in a way we're satisfied, but obviously we wanted to win way higher, especially on Dust2. We didn't expect to play Dust2 because we thought they would ban Dust2, cache our best maps, many would say, and we were thinking it's going to be Mirage or Train, something like that. But at the end of Dust2, and maybe we were a bit too comfortable with the map and the opponent. So like, they're good players. I know some of them from 1.6 even, and they were also there pretty good. But obviously we maybe underestimate them a bit, and then we play our best map. We think, okay, this is going to be an easy win, but it turns out they're playing really good. They're fighting to win, and props to them.
So you guys, obviously, as much as you respect these guys as well, and you have to say coming out of that one that they played very, very well. We saw you definitely start to come into the game much more towards the second part, I think. Even in overtime, we definitely saw a bit more of a presence from you there as well, especially holding the A side on that CT side. But if we can, we'll talk briefly about the first half, because we felt like you were a little bit quiet in quite a few of those rounds, struggling to really make the impact that you normally do.
Yeah, I agree. I felt me and Speedy both had trouble to really show an impact, and obviously, Speedy, you don't maybe expect so much of an impact on Dust2 because an AWP usually shines there, and I probably should have more impact. Some rounds I felt I couldn't do so much, but there were a lot of rounds where I could have had an impact and didn't do it, so it's something I need to work on for the next days and come up with more focus and more motivation.
Well, I'm sure you'll be motivated now as well, looking back on that one and seeing you've got one more game tomorrow as well, so you've got a bit of time to reflect on that one. Thank you very much for joining me, dude, and best of luck to you guys for the rest of your games. So, we're going on to our next game very, very soon. It's going to be the Frenchman of Envious going up against Immortals. This is one that a lot of us have been waiting for, so stay tuned and don't miss it.